Hi, welcome along to AFTV News Daily. Good morning, good afternoon, anywhere you are in the world right about now. And I hope you're having a great day. The sun is shining in the UK. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And looking forward to today. Trust me. I'm gonna go out. When I say out, not breaking the quarantine rules. I'm not doing the Dominic Cummings. I'm gonna go out and I've already been out this morning, but I'm gonna go out again and just be walking about. Just to get outside. But yeah, it's a beautiful day. And football, again, being played yesterday over there in Germany in the Bundesliga. They are leading the way. And there was a massive game yesterday, huge game over there between Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. I watched the game. It's a very enjoyable game, actually. I've got to say, played with a lot of intensity. Really was played with a lot of intensity. And it was Bayern Munich who came out on top, winning the game, by 1-0. Kimmich with a brilliant chip to win the game. It was a great goal. I'm not too sure if the keeper could possibly have saved it, but it was a brilliant goal. And Kimmich, Bayern Munich have got some brilliant players. But to be fair, on both sides, there were some really good footballers on show. Haaland, obviously, is the superstar player, and Sancho, as you see in this picture, for Dortmund. But there were some other really good players on show. Brandt's a really good player. Hakimi, Damoud. It was some really good footballers. But Bayern, simply an excellent team. And that Alphonse Davies that they got at the back, wow, what a player! And I just couldn't help looking at the game and thinking to myself, well, Ivan Gazidis said we're going to be competing with Bayern. And I looked at Bayern and I'm like, we are nowhere near Bayern Munich right now. They are simply an excellent team. And that victory means that they're 7 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga and on their way to winning the league. And that's how to do it. A satisfactory finish, where it's not awarded to anyone, they earn it. Even if it is behind closed doors, it is a better way to do it than just handing out things like what they've done in France and Belgium. So I think there's more games up today. I think RB Leipzig are up today. They could actually go level on points with Dortmund in second place if they win their game. But enjoyable game yesterday, although still no crowds, still lose that atmosphere. Because imagine how big that game would have been. Dortmund, they would have been playing at home. It would have given them an advantage as well. But with no crowd, that leveled it up a bit. And Bayern were the superior team on the day. Only just, though. Really good game. Arsenal players back in training. You can see Mikel Arteta there with his mask on. Adidas branded mask. And they were back in training. And you can see by all the sort of pictures yesterday, they're really starting to ramp it up now. Still sort of training with social distancing. But you can see they're kind of ramping up what they've been doing on the previous pictures that you've seen, and all sort of aiming towards that return, which is going to come sort of towards the end of June, where we should see the Premier League back. And I'll tell you what, after watching that game yesterday, Bayern Munich and Dortmund, you can see that fitness is going to play an enormous part. It really is. The teams that are really fit are going to get results, because you can see that the layoff had an effect on on some of the teams so far that have been playing. So fitness very important, and Mikel Arteta there leading the way in getting the team fit. Now, I remember the other day talking of Arsenal, there were those rumours about Mario Icardi being a possible swap deal option, with Icardi going to Arsenal and Aubameyang going to Inter Milan. Icardi's been on loan at PSG this season. Well, it seems like that deal is dead in the water, even if it was ever a deal in the first place, which it probably weren't. It was probably just a rumour that was never really had any substance to it. But reports have come out of Inter, the club itself, that said they don't plan to do any swap deals with Icardi. So they're not planning to do any swap deals with Icardi. I think the only deal they are interested in is to sell him straight to PSG. PSG said to be willing to take him. So I do think that's a deal that's going to get done. But Aubameyang going to Inter Milan as part of a swap deal, that looks like that's definitely over with, and that will not happen, which is good news for us as Arsenal fans. His options are really limited, Aubameyang, which is going to help us in aiding us to keep him, because there's not a lot of options out there for Aubameyang at the moment. So, and certainly as part of a swap deal for Icardi, that looks like that won't happen. Now, we spoke yesterday about Philippe Coutinho, and interestingly today, that another club has been thrown into the hat as being very interested in signing him, and that club is Newcastle. Right now, we all know that Newcastle have got a load of money. Money, no option for Newcastle right now, and certainly, you know, I think they're going to be flexing their muscles this year in the transfer market. Obviously, you know, they want to build towards being a top team. And to be a top team, they're going to have to spend a lot of money. Well, rumours today that they're about to, well, they're not just about to, they're in talks as well with Coutinho, and would be willing to pay the whole amount that he wants, not a loan deal, but be able to buy him outright if he would be willing to come to Newcastle. So it's what I've been saying now for a little while. Newcastle are going to be a threat. They are going to be a threat when it comes to transfers. Newcastle are going to have lots and lots of money to throw at this thing, and definitely it's going to be one of those clubs we're going to have to watch out for, because they're no longer the Newcastle that we know, with owners that are worth over 200 billion. You know, they have the ability to blow every team out of the water, even teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid. So, wow, it's going to be an interesting couple of years ahead if you're a Newcastle fan. If you're an Arsenal fan and any clubs around that top 6 area, you really got to get your act together, because they're coming. They're definitely coming. Arsenal linked today with a Bundesliga player. His name is Rabbi Matondo. Rabbi Matondo is actually a Welsh international, and he was previously Manchester City. Schalke is the club that he plays for. Borussia Dortmund's deadly rivals. They obviously took a look at what Borussia Dortmund did with Jadon Sancho when they bought Sancho from Manchester City, and they have tried to repeat the trick. They bought him in January of 2019, and whilst he's not played a lot of games, I mean, this season only 9 starts, 5 as a substitute, scored 1 goal, but he is seen as a very, very hot prospect indeed. Similar to Sancho in that he's very, very quick, lightning quick down the wing. He's already in the Welsh national team, and a lot of clubs are looking at him. Arsenal said to be one of those clubs interested in him. There's been a lot of interest in him since the Bundesliga's come back, because everybody's looking to take a look at him and see exactly how good he is. And this again is youngsters from this country going over to Germany to get first team football, to get regular football, to get themselves, you know, playing games. And that's what he's doing. He's 19. And as I said, a very, very quick winger. He's valued at around about £12 million at the moment. So that's the valuation. It's just not a lot of money, but he is still a very young player, sort of on his journey, should I say. But Arsenal said to be interested in Rabbi Matondo. There are other clubs as well looking at him, but I think everyone's going to be looking at him now with interest from now till the end of the season. And you know, I watched him play the other day, and he does look really quick and direct. But you could see, even with him, he wasn't fully up to his fitness. But going to be keeping an eye on him to see if, you know, he could possibly be an Arsenal player. But the only thing is, it's another winger, right? And we keep getting linked to all these wingers, and we don't really need a winger. We've got enough wingers. I mean, we've got Saka and players like that. But interest in Matondo today, and I suppose with a lot of teams now, they don't want to let top talents the opportunity to sign them go if they're available, even if there is somebody already in that place. Let's get into some of your comments. Winfred Twum reminded me that the takeover still hasn't happened. That's the Newcastle one. It's going to happen. It will happen. Even though I know loads of us don't want it to happen, because we know what's going to happen when it does happen. But it's going to happen. Lots of happens there. Daniel says that a sleeping giant has awakened. It is a sleeping giant, and they will be serious. Kieran says, if we want to play Champions League, then we must keep Aubameyang and fix our midfield and defence. Disasi, Partey, and Coutinho, please. Liverpool YNWA says, Coutinho, laugh out loud. Bertrand says, not worried about Newcastle with financial fair play. Well, hold on. You remember the other day they're talking about the fact that they're going to relax a lot of things around financial fair play to allow, teams to start, getting themselves back together after this whole coronavirus crisis, because they recognize the fact that owners may have to put some of their own money into clubs to keep it afloat or to get it going again. So this could work to Newcastle's advantage. So you don't just think about financial fair play as being the thing that's going to be able to, stop them from spending. Kings of the Opera said, this is not good. Why Newcastle? A lot of fans have been asking that. Why Newcastle? Those owners did want to buy Manchester United. Imagine if they'd have done that. Jesus. Martin Todd said, Ozil is not out of contract. He's out of contract next season. Coutinho could replace him in the short term. Definitely. Scape says, Matondo, really? I'm Welsh, and it would be nice to see a Welsh international back at Arsenal, but we really don't need him, do we? I wouldn't say he offers any more than Nelson. And that's very true. And I say this all the time. Sometimes you look at players from afar and you kind of think they're better than what they are. As I said, when I've seen him play, he's looked good, quick, but you can see he's a very young, raw player. And like Scape is saying there, we've got players like that already. I'd say Reece Nelson's a better player. Remember Reece Nelson went on loan to Hoffenheim, did very well, sort of tailed off towards the end of that, but did well. And I'd say Reece Nelson, better prospect than Matondo. Definitely. Saka, better prospect than Matondo as well. So we've got some very good youngsters ourselves. It's just that obviously some of these guys are going over to Germany to play week in, week out. And sometimes that can really aid in their development. I mean, look at Jadon Sancho, even though he didn't have a great game yesterday in that Borussia Dortmund Bayern game, but he's an electrifying player, but he couldn't get a game. He couldn't get near the squad at Man City. And now Bayern, Borussia Dortmund are saying, if you want to buy him, Man United, 100 million. Got to give these kids a chance, or we're never going to know how good they are. The London Falcon says, Robbie, how about Demabe as a replacement for Ozil? Love from Nepal. I don't really know a lot about him. James Bell says, Don Robbie, Coutinho would only stunt the growth of Willock and Smith Rowe. I sort of more look on it like what that other gentleman just said. He would be sort of come in and offer a lot of competition to Mesut Ozil. And I think we do need quality in that area. I know what you're saying about the youngsters. They're going to have to earn their stripes in this one, because we do need competition in that. I mean, we're really lacking. We just do not score enough goals in midfield. And Coutinho is one of those guys who can chip in with a 10 goals from midfield. So I would definitely take him if he was available. Nathan Dog says, Robbie, the deal isn't done yet. Are you talking like Newcastle have a new owner when they don't? They don't, but it's going to happen. Nathan, it's going to happen, bro. They're going to take over, right? And they're multi-billionaires, and it's going to be a serious threat to all Premier League clubs. And that even includes Man City, because they can blow them out of the water. They can blow everybody out of the water, right? So, yeah, it hasn't happened yet. It hasn't gone through yet. But from what I understand, it's going through. You know what I mean? It's going to happen. And when it does, they're going to be a serious force. So, Liverpool YNWA says Newcastle will spend about 300 million with FFP relax. Well, they got the ability to spend even more than that. Benjamin Day says, hi, Robbie, would you swap Mesut Ozil and 20 million for Kai Havertz? Of course I would. You know, of course I definitely would. Tyler says, we might be able to get Coutinho or Dembele on loan. The Dembele thing, we don't need Dembele. I mean, it's funny, we did a podcast yesterday. It was me and DT, and we literally did a big rundown of a lot of the players that we've been looking at and we've been linked to. And Dembele was one of those players that we discussed. And, you know, we were like, we don't need Dembele. He's a quality player, but we've got so much quality in that area. You know what I mean? That would really be a waste of money. Use it in the areas for players that we do need. We get into this one. Aaron White says, waiting for my op this morning. Thank you for helping me to kill time. Much respect, Robbie. Keep up the good work. I'm waiting for my op. All right, so good luck with that, Aaron. Best of luck with that, mate. Mick Chapman says, if he's Welsh, then I'm Ghanaian. He born in Wales, right? So, you know what I mean? What is Welsh? What is English? You know what I mean? He's born in, that's where he's born. That's his country where he's born. That's the country that he represents. Matondo is not a very Welsh-sounding name, I know, but he is Welsh. Doctor says, watch that boy on Sunday. Not good enough. Not good off the ball, though. As I said, yeah, he was a bit disappointing in that game. He came on. You can see the injection of pace. He looks exciting, but raw. To me, look like a very raw player. That's still got a way to go. So not needed, in my opinion, right now. Joseph says, I suppose the only thing, just going back to that though, is that you leave a player like that, he starts to shine like what Sancho did, and that. And next minute, you know, he's gone from being worth 13 million to like 80 million. You know what I mean? Joseph says we need to get Partey and Nkunku. Kunchuchu. Keep Aubameyang and Laka, offload Socrates, El Neni, Kolasinac, Mavropanos, Niles, Mkhitaryan, Martinez, loan out Willock, Smith and Holding, keep Cedric, Mari, Sabias, and on loan. Wow. Thanks, Robbie. That's from Joseph. That's a big clear out, man. That's a big clear out. HK Football Ralph says, we need Sane from Schalke. He is good. Yeah, he did look decent. Again, you know, is that a position we need? Osman says, Aubameyang needs to sign a new contract in order for it to be a good transfer window. Remember, we're not in the transfer window yet, but you are right. You are right there. Indanil says, hi, Robbie, love from India. Do you think we can pay all of Coutinho's £250,000 a week wages when we've asked our squad to take pay cuts? I really don't think so. Well, listen, it'd be a loan deal. It's the only way that Arsenal can get that deal done. And in a loan deal, typically in a loan deal, you pay half the wages. So it will be paying £125,000 a week. And obviously, probably to facilitate that, they might get rid of a couple of players and get them off the wage bill to be able to make that happen. So it's not beyond being done. There's quite a few players at Arsenal on similar wages. It just might mean they have to move a couple of players on in order to free up that space to pay those wages. If they can't move no one on, now I can't see how that deal could happen. Yeah, you're right. Dorian says, hey, Robbie, for me, no interest to sign a winger. More interest in signing a defensive midfielder, Partey, and a number 10. And a defender, I still think. Junior says, Robbie, why are you talking about Newcastle of being a financial force? They haven't even been taken over. And according to the news, the takeover is in jeopardy due to Saudi malpractice. The deal is going to happen. It makes a great story. Put it in there. This has happened in Saudi Arabia. That might happen. It's happening. It's going to happen. There's a lot of money involved in it. the owners of the Premier League, it suits them to have a very powerful Newcastle United in the league. It generates more interest around the world, more fans, more TV money, and that is the product, right? That's what the the people who run the league will be looking at the most. And listen, they will forego some of the things that have happened in Saudi Arabia. And listen, there's a lot of other owners that have done just as bad or connected to countries that have done just as bad or even worse, right? And they're still in charge. It's happening, right? It's happening. It's another one. Riley says, hi, Robbie, the Newcastle deal will not happen as Newcastle owner has breached international law with piracy issues and illegal streaming. It's going to happen. I saw that story today where they're speculating that this could. I'm almost 90% sure that that deal is going to happen. You know, it's too much involved. And as I said, the Premier League, remember this, the owners of the Premier League, the guys who run it, they want to see big, powerful, high-spending clubs like Newcastle. They love that because it brings more interest to the product. So I know a lot of you are hoping it's not going to happen. I don't want it to happen, right? But it's happening. It's happening. Arsenal from HK says, hello from Hong Kong. Big up everybody in Hong Kong. I was chatting to my friend over there yesterday. Respect to you guys. Nathan Roy says, Robbie, the day we win the Champions League, me and you will be dead. How do you know? Like, yo, listen, speak for yourself, bro. Don't include me in that. Don't include me. I expect to live for a long time and hopefully see that happen. Lewis says, if we could get Coutinho on loan for a season, how much would you pay him if we had an obligation to have an obligation to buy him next summer? Well, you know, they'd want a lot of money. They'd want that obligation to see. That is something as well that could come into the mix that Real Madrid, Barcelona might be like, yeah, listen, you can have him on loan, but there's got to be an obligation to buy at the end of the season. And I'd think they'd want at least 60, 70 million pounds, which would mean them losing loads of money on him. But it's just not worked out for him over there in Barcelona. And that 60, 70 million pounds would be a lot of money. But remember, there would be a lot of Arsenal players at the end of next season where they would be off the wage bill. So we might be able to facilitate that. Dr. Viraj, who was on the show last night, and thanks to everybody who was on the show last night. It was a great show. We had Dr. Viraj on, we had Noam and Ben, all regulars who watched the show. And we're going to be doing it again where we're going to be getting some other regulars on. But Dr. Viraj was brilliant on the show, so from all the way from India. So Dr. Viraj, thanks again for last night. He says, why not look for Premier League proven defenders, aka, sorry, not aka. He says like Ake or Dunk. That's very true. Dunk, I think, for a while I've always said, you know, he could do a great job at Arsenal, and I like Ake as well. And Ake is versatile. He can play, you know, as a centre half. He can even play as a right back as well. I like Ake as well. Either of those two I'd take, I'll be honest with you. So that's a good shout. This guy says Saka needs to sign a new contract, and that should be the priority. We need to offload Xhaka, Torreira, and almost all the central defenders, then buy Partey and some defender. Lord's official says Mikel Arteta told he was going to build a team around Ozil. Let's say he continues to do so for the next season too. Who would you bring in to shape and play around him, giving him space and support? Well, then that would have to be a Partey. Somebody who's going to allow Ozil to get forward and do the stuff that he can do well. Still got to score more goals. Look at that. Look, that picture for the Dub meme thing where I've got here. Bazim, the Dub King fan forever, says, hi, the King of Dub. Love your content. Thanks a lot. And I tried to use your super chat, but it always says it doesn't work in my region, the Middle East. Thanks again. Big up, Bazim, man. Every time I got to laugh every time I see that picture, man. Some of those dumb memes are pretty cool. Hold on, there's a super chat here. Where is it gone? There it is. Mr. A says, Robbie, in your opinion, what would be a good window and what would be a poor window? A poor window would be buying nobody. That's a poor window because we need to make some changes. We need to refresh. A good window would be we get the players. I think we need 3 players to come in. There's 3 areas I'm looking at. There's more players as well that I'd like going forward, but 3 key areas to me are still think we need another centre half, an experienced, top quality centre half. Might not be able to get it, but I'd love to see that happen. We need another defensive midfielder, top quality. Partey would suit the bill perfectly. And we need an attacking midfielder of real quality. And if you brought in Havertz, that would be perfect, but ain't going to happen. But those 3 positions, if we can fill those 3 positions, it will be a fantastic window. Jaff S says, Sancho will be an expensive Martial. What do you reckon? I don't know. I think he's quality, Sancho. The more and more I've seen of him, he didn't play well yesterday. Didn't look fit to me. But the more and more I see of him, if he comes to the Premier League, I think he will do really well. He's a quality player, confident, he's a good player. Classic says, Robbie, Icardi won't score 20 goals a season like Aubameyang, but I would take Coutinho for Ozil replacement. Icardi did just score 20 goals in the season gone by. And he's done that before in Italy as well, where, you know, they have very good defenses before anybody turns around and says, well, it's only the French league. He's quality. Low says, hey, Robbie, I think that we need to stop looking for wingers. Do something like Liverpool. Get a good centre-half and stop all the defensive areas. You've got to build from the back first. You know, it's very important to do that. And I think we need to get in some quality defenders and defensive-minded players. You're right. We need to build from the back. We don't need no more wingers right now. Luke Dalton said the squad isn't even that bad. If we didn't bottle those games from October to December under Emery, we would have been 4th. You are right. That squad, I'm going to be honest with you, right? I remember I was looking back. When we started last season, I was quite confident that we were going to get in the top 4. When I looked around the team, I was like, that team's not bad. You know, defense still weren't perfect. We brought in David Luiz. I was like, all right, it's a bit of a stopgap, but it's not bad, the defense, right? Then I looked at the midfield, I was like, Danny Ceballos, that's quite an exciting loan signing. I think he'll do well at Arsenal, you know, and chip in with some goals and that. Brought in Nicolas Pepe. You know, I was quite excited about the team. You know, as I was looking at the front 3, I was like, Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe. That's exciting. You can comparable to like even Liverpool's front 3. I was very disappointed, really, in the outcome of the season when you think of the players that we've had. We shouldn't be down in the position we were, and a lot of that was to do with the whole Emery era. The fact that we reacted too slowly in getting rid of Emery. We should have. You know, I hate to see managers get sacked, but Emery needed to go before he went. We took too long to get rid of Emery. We took too long to get a replacement for Emery. You could see that they were obviously trying to bring in Ljungberg, hoping that they could maybe get Ljungberg to just get us through till the end of the season. It was pretty obvious pretty quickly that that weren't going to work. And we just dropped, like that guy said, so many points unnecessarily. Well, we should really have been fighting for that top 4 minimum this season. Yeah, I agree with that. Trent Singh says, Robbie, I woke up and saw quotes from Mbappe talking glowingly about Liverpool and Klopp. How long till we get to that position with world stars? Well, listen, there's been a lot of world stars that if you talk to them, they'll talk glowingly about Arsenal, but they've got no intention of coming. You know, so, yeah, we've got a long way to go. So, you know, this is going to be a real project for Mikel Arteta to get Arsenal back to where we all want to see Arsenal. So And we're going to have to be patient with it because it's going to take time. But let's hope that Arteta can do that. Thanks for watching the show today. Don't forget, we're going to be back tonight. We've got Turkish coming on tonight, so look out for that show tonight at 8 o'clock. But have yourself a wonderful day.